Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott Wave update for Solana. Now this is the last video I posted on Solana. I haven't even updated the chart. I haven't been trading Solana. I just wanted to make an update on this video. So this was from February 14th. You can go back and check. This is my last video update I did with this. Last time I updated the chart, I was traveling and came back. I haven't touched the chart one bit. Here we are. Pretty neat, right? This is why I love Elliott Wave. Sometimes this happens where I kind of stop following something and it does obviously exactly as what we're expecting. It's kind of neat when that can happen. Just take a look at that. And there we are. Right to target, the 2.618 extension. You can see my target zone highlighted pretty much to the tick. Time almost there, but pretty close. And I figured we'd just analyze this in real time. So back then our buy zone was 59.19 to 87.77. We had a couple different ways we were expecting this to play out, either complete or come up and make a running flat from what I recall. So we can get rid of all this and analyze this in real time. Now we also put on our pitchfork. As you know, we start to drift out the side of it. It's usually the end of the wave. So this is our 5-wave complete. Now we can put on our larger time frame. There we go. Currently working on most likely a larger fourth. So we're done with this pitchfork. This looks like it ended up being, again, I haven't looked at this since February. Let me take a look at this in smaller time frames. Just want to make sure I got this count correct. That was something we were looking for, a running flat or a expanded flat, one or the other. You can go back and watch that video. We were looking for the zone right here between the 1.236 and 382 of this potential W wave. Looks like it was actually an A wave. This will make sense in a moment. Our fourth wave is probably actually over here. One, two, three, four, five. Yep, that makes the most sense. So I would label it like such. Very short C wave. Just have to double check, make sure this works. We got a 3, WXY, and then our C wave down, very short lived. It's going to happen sometimes in these flats. You'll see it quite often. Kind of goes against guidelines, but it doesn't break any rules and it fits the best. So we take our A wave. We want to see at least a 618 extension from the high to qualify. As you can see, there's our 618 off the top of the B wave. That's most likely the bottom of our fourth as a running flat. And then we get our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up, right to target. So that is our completed 5 waves to the upside for our third wave, most likely. Let's go back to the daily. See what we can use to get there. We can get rid of this. This is now going to be pulled, the fib from the bottom of our second to the top of our third to try and get our fib targets. If you like this, me doing it in real time, let me know. I know some people like to see that in real time. Won't do it every time, but once in a while. I just thought that was a neat one because I haven't analyzed this one in literally 4 months. And the count held true if you're just patient. So we can pull that over to the left, or the right, sorry. So our target for our fourth wave is between the 236 and the 50, ideally between this zone. Probability shift under the 618. So that's our probability shift. We'll make this green so we know our zone. Green zone is the buy zone, and flips probabilities at 37.28, but invalidation is until the top of this wave 1, which I think is actually most likely right here. And this is probably a expanded flat combination. Flat followed by a zigzag there in wave 2, most likely. So we'll pull from that pivot, invalidation 2680. Just good to at least write these down. Wave 4 invalidation. That way if it starts to trend differently in the future, at least you have something to kind of fall back on. And I'll move this over so it's at least out of the way. All right, what's next? How's our pitchforks? Before I get into this correction, I'm just going with standard things. And let's take a look here. Yeah, we got quite a spike there on our fifth, fourth, running flat, divergence for the running flat, and our fifth. Looks like we basically double topped. I always like to see these things just for the future too. We got not divergence either, more of a double top, slight divergence on the weekly. So we didn't get divergence on this top. Interesting. We do a high majority of the time, but just interesting to see that. Most volume in our third. Yep, third of the third. Yep. Okay. So let's check out our pitchforks. How are they? Actually, I'll do the standard way. This is the way most people know. So when we're looking for a fourth wave on the larger degree, a good area to expect a potential pivot is off the bottom of the wave 1 to the wave 2 off the top of wave 1 and get right on the pivots. We'll extend that to the right, and then we'll start to zone in where we expect our pivot to be. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I would say they work majority of the time. But we're going to call this top of wave 1. We can also call this on top of wave 1. This just looks better as a double combination, I think. We'll see which one makes the most sense here. I don't think this bottom's in yet. I'm going to try this second pivot. The highest pivot. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. We might actually come through that, would be my guess currently. Slightly, come between the 236 and the 382, so it might not work out with the channel technique, which is fine. Sometimes when that happens, you end up getting the middle of the channel. But I'll show you an alternative. I'm just going to start using this moving forward, but that's standard techniques to use using a channel, but I like to use a pitchfork. If you follow along with me, you know that. It's just easier, and you can get multiple things at once. So you can, come on. So we can go with our standard pitchfork. We're already out of it. It's not respecting that. We go to our modified, and what modified is just that channel I drew a second ago. And if modified isn't working, I switch to shift. So there is a possibility we hold this level. I don't think so currently. Just looking at the shape, I'm going to explain why in a moment. But I think we come down a little bit lower. Shift pitchfork seems to be making the most sense. Or standard shift, I would expect to come down, hit the top end of this channel, and then try and pivot here. Now, other things we can add before we analyze this correction. Another guideline is to see the length of the larger wave 2 correction extended off the top of wave 3, and we'd like to see a similar length of time for our larger wave 4. So we have equality in time between wave 2 and wave 4. This one I just put up this straight up 1-to-1. Sometimes wave 4s can take a little bit longer if they end up making like triangles. But you can see we're starting to get a zone. So we've got our zone here, at least around the 1-to-1, between the 236 and the 50. There's our zone extended out in time. Let's get rid of that extension. There we go. You can see my zone. All right, so we've come this far. We've got our Fibonacci poles. We'd ideally also want to stay within the fourth wave of 1 lesser degree. So that zone, and do a dual zone here, is here. The bottom of wave 4 right here. Top of wave 3 somewhere around this zone, which we are already in. So we can expand our zone slightly, something like that. And it's important to do that too, because if I switch to linear, obviously we're way deeper in the retracement. So on log scale, it can look shy when it's actually not in linear, right? So we can pivot kind of anywhere in this area. We just want to try and line up with time as close as we can. Okay, let's zoom in on this correction now, see what is potentially happening. This looks like a truncation. This looks like a flat. Just want to make sure we came to the 90% retracement on this wave. Either in log or linear. It's pretty close. I'm not going to call it though a flat because we didn't hit that 90. If it did, I would have called this a truncated fifth wave and then gotten our ABC. Instead, this is most likely going to be an ABC as a zigzag. 2, 1, 2, B, C, C, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Again, it's not pretty, as you can see. Call it a 1, 2. Let's even go slower, even more in here. 1, 2. Zigzag, zigzag. Yep, that works. I just want to make sure that worked as a diagonal. That third wasn't the shortest. It is not the shortest if we do it that way. Third shorter than wave 1. Fifth shorter than wave 3. Okay, so that's how I would count it. This is our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the micro. Make sure that works. Yep, third wave is not the shortest by the slightest bit, you can see. The alternative way I would count this if this didn't work out is I would assume on the smaller time frame in that fifth wave, this stuff doesn't matter as much when you're getting down to these small of time frames. Again, I focus on shape more than anything. But if there's a 5 wave down here, no, yep, 5 waves. Okay, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's the way I would count that. I was going to say if there was only 3 waves in this fifth, it could have also been a diagonal, and I would have counted it like such. It would have been ABC, flat, or sorry, not like that. It would have been ABC, 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 if there was 3 waves in there, but there's 5, so this diagonal works, or sorry, this impulse works the best. And this is a 5 wave move, so this is our ABC. Looks like we got quite an extension for our C wave, 2.618. Oh, a little shy, probably 2.382. .236, that works. All right, so we get our ABC, that's a W wave. So we're looking for a Y wave as a 3 wave pattern. W, X, looking for a Y wave. As you can see, this looks like A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. Most likely double zigzag, right? A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. That's how I would count that. W, X, Y. I'm not going to spend 20 minutes doing that exact count, but you get the idea. We've got overlap, series of 3s. I'm sure I could make that a flat if I wanted to. 3, this looks like it came down to the 90%, and we do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it can also be an ABC. But you can see, based on where we are, it doesn't really matter at this point. I'm not going to spend 20 minutes getting the, whether it's an ABC or a WXY, right? All right, now we're looking for targeting. 1-to-1s would be ideal. 618 minimum for the extension of our Y wave off our X. So our 1-to-1s at 104.25. I'm going to leave our 1.618 up there, as well as our 1.236, 1.382. These being our most probable. 618s and 1.618s being less probable. So our 1-to-1 is the most probable. That comes into the zone we're looking for. So right now I'd be looking, again, 72. I'd want to be a little bit higher. I want to find support in this fourth. About 83.07, 104.25 would be ideal. This would be ideal. Nothing says we have to get ideal though. Right in that zone, the 1-to-1, top of our channel, as you can see on our shift, almost there. All right, this one, I'll do a pitchfork as well for this correction. Probably decide whether I do these in real time once in a while based on the viewership and the comments. I know some people just want the count, which is understandable as well. So when I'm trying to target this area, you can see this is our uptrend line we're trying to pivot off of. This is our channel line as modified shift, which is just from the top of wave 3 off our X, off our W. Extend it out. You can see that zone just building up that confluence right here at our targets, which is right now around Sunday the 28th. All right, so what do we have now? So we have a zigzag. We could get a double zigzag. This could turn into a, let me see what this looks like first. Take a look at our extensions. 1, 2, see, could be a diagonal. Did come to the 1.618 and the 200-ish. Yep. Is this possible to be a three-wave? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. It looks like a 5-wave move here. That looks like a 5 and a 5, 3. This looks like a diagonal to me. A lot of chop, a lot of overlap. A, B, C. Be my first guess right here. Let's see how that measures. We're at the 1-to-1, so that looks like it belongs together. This looks like an A, B, C. That looks like it belongs together. How's our measurement? ABC or WXY, right? Same idea. The measurements are what matters. The shape is what matters. Just remember, in diagonals, we can get double zigzags as well. I would probably actually call this a WXY just looking at it. Mostly because of the second one. It got quite some overlap here. Probably be something like this, WXY. I see overlap here, so that could actually be a B, and we get 5 down there for our first W wave. And we have our 3-wave move here. That looks like 2 zigzags back to back here. Well, sorry, I wasn't quite done this. That's like diagonal ABC, and there's our last ABC there to complete our diagonal. Okay, you can. I hope that makes sense. How that seems to make the most sense. We even have our shape that we would like, as you can see. Be like that. 1, 2. Like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I would pull it back for the shape like this, though. That looks a little bit better. But the count is actually like this. 2, 3, 4, 5. How's our targets here? We 618s. I'm curious. 618, 786. Ticked through that with that wick for our third, and then our wave 3 for our fifth. Are we 618, 786? We are. Isn't that amazing? Those 618, 786s, they always seem to work out. Okay, so in our Y wave, we have a wave complete. Oh, putting on a triangle. There's our zone we want. Let me just get rid of these ABCs, WXYs. It's getting a little messy on here. And I can keep everything on the proper degree. There we go. Looking for this Y wave to complete our fourth. You can see our zoning in. Okay, now we can take the length of our A off our B if it is complete, and it actually does look impulsive to the downside here. So I would say our C wave is on the move right now. Let's get right on those targets, get some more confluence. See how close we can get this fourth wave confluence here between different degrees. Again, we're looking for the 1-to-1 618 minimum. Most probable is 1-to-1 1.26 1.382. 618 is less. 1.618 is less. Okay, you can see there's our larger 1-to-1. There's our lesser 1-to-1 here. So our perfect zone, if we get it, is between those two 1-to-1s. The larger one being more important. This one at 104.25. If we can get 104.25 and 118 cents, that would be the ideal zone. That's where this C equals that A, and this Y equals this W. And that's also at the 236, I believe. On the larger degree, this retracement, just between the 236 and the 382. So you can see how nice that is. Right there, off our pitchfork, right in our buy zone, right in our time zone, right? It's very nice. So that's what I would be looking for, and that's how I do it. Hope that all made sense to you. And once we finally do get our pivot in, what I would be targeting is the length of our larger wave 1 off our wave 4, and we can't know that until it ends. And I'd be targeting the 1-to-1 because we got such an extended third wave. And let's say it does finish around what, 104, I believe it was, somewhere in that area, targeting about 350 for our wave 5, which is a very nice move of over 200%. So that's a nice trade setup I'll be looking at. Something to keep in mind, I'm not interested in shorting right now, just so you know. There are trades available there if you really want to be active in this. But we're getting pretty close to a low. This most likely needs to turn into a 5-wave impulse because we have a diagonal to begin with, so you'd anticipate an impulse in this area. And what that would look like if this is the 1-2. It's not necessarily complete yet. This can also get bigger. Remember these B waves. I'm calling it complete here, but it's not necessarily complete. We could get something like this, come back up, and then get our C. There's lots of ways it can pan out. We have a double zigzag here. This could also turn a little higher, and this ends up being a 5-wave move. Get a diagonal, 3, 4, 5. This becomes a flat as a 3, 3, 5. Then we come down. This is why these B waves are so brutal to trade in. If I was forced to trade, I would probably wait for the break of this B wave, and my stop would go at this high. And I'd call this. This is if I had to trade. I'm not trading. The risk reward's just not there. I'd call this our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, getting right down to our target zone there, the 1-to-1s. Like so, but it's not a good risk reward for me to take that trade, even though it seems likely to happen. That trade setup's not good enough for me. I'd wait for the long. But how would this work out if we get standard extensions? Do they line up? Be looking for the 1.618, right? For the third, that would take us to 98. How about on linear? No, log is closer, because it would look like our third wave would come to around 98, $100. Get a fourth wave and possibly like a double bottom. Maybe we come to that 1.236 at 90 instead. But yeah, that's our zone. Right now, if we go by these 5-wave impulse, we'd be looking around 90. But I go with higher time frames, targeting those 1-to-1s. right? Those are the larger time frames rule. So I'd be looking between 100 and 104. That seems like a pretty good psychological level to the 100. Maybe our third wave only comes to the 1.382 and we get a 1.618 for our fifth, something like this. But you can see, just wanted to show you how I analyze that in real time. Eventual targets, if we hit our ideal pivot there, right in that circle zone, would be 350. All right, guys, you know the invalidation, you know what I'm expecting. Double zigzag right now. This B wave can get bigger. It's not worth trading short unless you're very active in the market, maybe just targeting one-to-ones, but waiting for this long. This is the trade I'm waiting for. I'll be waiting for a bottoming structure there, and I will make sure to update this one because this one's looking very nice. All right, guys, that's it for Solana. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.